everyone. I, C.A. Shreya Gupta, Assistant Professor, Faculty of Commerce, Parul University, welcome each and everyone to this webinar on mindful learning, which is the part 1 of the 2 webinar series. First of all, I would like to introduce our guests. Dr. Asisi Menacharya. Dr. Menacharya serves as the Vice President at QMPG Industrial Certifications and Services. He has demonstrated excellence in multiple areas. His mantra is, love whatever you do and enjoy the process. He is excited about whatever he does. He was a top-performing sales professional in India and one among the top 50 in the world, earning multiple international awards consecutively for 3 years from US and Europe. He has conducted more than 1,150 third-party audits in 25 plus sectors in the areas of quality, environment, food safety, health and safety, and social accountability that includes manufacture of nuclear-grade uranium. He is also a certified Lean Six Sigma Black Belt. He has conducted 97 third-party audits in the area of K-12, higher education, non-formal education, training and knowledge management in 3 countries. He also served as the Director of Hycon India Limited, Director and CEO of Horsch Remedies Limited, and Director Marketing of Zeba Lab Furnishing Private Limited. He has consulted and conducted trainings in more than 350 organizations during the past 18 years. He is an alumnus of IIM Ahmedabad for the full-time FDPM program, BSMED, Bharatiyar University and University of Madras. He is trained in physics, applied in clinical psychology, HRM, HRD, management, marketing, and enterprise risk management with an earned PhD in the area of emotional intelligence and managerial effectiveness. He is an astute practitioner of Sahaj Mark, a method of Raj Yoga or mindfulness practice for past 30 years. He is the author of 9 books and one is translated to European languages, 9 European languages. He has worked as an associate professor, and dean at multiple management schools. His latest 2 books, the core focus is in the area of mindfulness. He has conducted a meta-analysis of wisdom literatures of Oriental, Eastern, and Western literatures using thematic analysis and working on his 10th book on mindfulness named as Essence of Excellence. He has traveled to US, Europe, Canada, Middle East, and Far East to attend and present papers in international conferences. He has published 28 articles in peer-reviewed journals of repute. On behalf of Faculty of Commerce, Parul University, I welcome you, sir. Now I'd like to introduce our next speaker, Dr. Giselle George. She is the wife of Dr. Menacharya, completed her graduation in education and mathematics and post-graduation in mathematics and business administration. She came out as a topper for KAU MAT entrance test with the Federal Bank Hormuz Tarakan Scholarship for doing her MBA APM covering full fees. Later, she successfully completed her doctoral studies in an area, employee engagement, role of spiritual intelligence and knowledge management. Presently, she is working as a faculty in the area of quantitative techniques and organizational psychology. She is an author of 4 books, half a dozen research papers, and attended or presented papers in international conferences in Switzerland, India, and Malaysia. She is working on her next book, The 7 Spiritual Laws to Face Failures. She is working as a faculty in management at SNGI-ST Group of Institutions at Kochi. I welcome you, ma'am. Now we'll have a look on what you should expect from this program. First of all, the target group. Let's talk about the target group. We are targeting the age group of 13 to 25. This age group has covered already K-12 education, which is from kindergarten to 12th standard, plus higher education learning, 8th to PhD. The majority of learning happens at the cognitive level. Then the next age group of 25 to 45, where the learning is more experiential. Age group of more than 45, where the need for unlearning and relearning matters. The scope of mindful learning. Now, mindfulness at the psychological level, when we say how a learner is conscious and aware about his or her own interest to learn, competence, opportunity, livelihood. These are the transactional levels of learning. And then we talk about moving towards absolute levels of learning, which are learning, then contribution, and then excellence. Now then we have the renewal stages of learning, that is learning, unlearning, and relearning. And there are different types of learning, such as cognitive learning, Bloom's taxonomy, affective, and psychomotor. At this level, mind functions to the minimal or absolutely nil, which is mindless learning. In this stage, learning becomes experiential, where mind don't function to the minimal, or it functions to the minimal. This happens through experiences that actually happen in life. Here, our mind is not aware that we are going through a learning process. The role of creation in learning process, behavioral learning, and unlearning possibilities and techniques. There are few challenges of mindfulness, like the role of past, present, and future. Of course, we have to handle a lot of anxiety, stress, obsession, compulsion, and depression. And there is a flow of optimal experiences in learning. Let me share a video with all of you, which will rekindle your interest in this webinar.
ये था कि सर मतलब पूरी दुनिया आपको जानती है कि यू आर द कैप्टन कूल, तो सर जैसे मैं स्टूडेंट हूँ, मुझे एग्जाम में कुछ डिफिकल्ट आ गया, प्रेशर, तो सर आप प्लीज़ मुझे टिप्स दे सकते हैं कि कैसे कूल एंड काम रहने, क्योंकि आप इतने प्रेशर सिचुएशन में भी।
ये इसका बहुत ही सिंपल आंसर है और ये एक्चुअली मेरे लाइफ में हुआ है, तो मेरे लिए बोलना बहुत आसान है। आई थिंक एग्जाम जब आपको क्वेश्चन पेपर मिलता है, इट्स ऑलरेडी टू लेट, यू नो, क्योंकि अगर आपने साल भर पढ़ाई की होगी तो आपको सारे आंसर्स पते होंगे, थोड़ा आप मिस करोगे, थोड़ा भूलोगे, बट अल्टीमेटली आप लिख सकते हो आंसर। दैट्स वाई मैं जिस स्कूल में भी जाता हूँ, जब भी स्टूडेंट से इंटरेक्ट करता हूँ, तो मैं यही बोलता हूँ, इंपॉर्टेंट है कि हर दिन आप जो आप क्लास अटेंड कर रहे हो उसमें अटेंटिव रहें और हर दिन थोड़ी थोड़ी पढ़ाई करते रहें। ऐसा नहीं कि लास्ट 2 महीने में जम के पढ़ाई करें और बाकी 9 महीने 10 महीने में हम कुछ भी नहीं करें। और जहाँ तक मेरे लाइफ की बात है, जो मैं रिलेट करने की बात कर रहा हूँ, तो आई थिंक क्लास 12th के समय सो हमारा मैचेस था, तो अब हम हेजिटेट कर रहे थे कि पापा के पास कैसे जाए। मम्मी को तो पटा लिया, बट पापा के पास कैसे जाके बताएं कि कि एग्ज़ाम है, बट उसके पहले मुझे मैचेस खेलना है और एग्ज़ाम ख़त्म होने के बाद ही मुझे ना ट्रेन पकड़ के जाना है और मैच खेल के फिर वापस आना है। तो फाइनली थोड़ा करेज जुटा के गए। मेरा पापा ऐसा है कि मैच है हमारा, ऐसा है वैसा है। उन्होंने बहुत आराम से जवाब दिया, बोला बेटा अगर साल भर मेहनत करे होगे तो एक दिन से फ़र्क नहीं पड़ेगा, अगर साल भर मेहनत नहीं किए होगे तो भी एक दिन से फ़र्क नहीं पड़ेगा, तो तुम आगे खेलो।
Hi all, I am Dr. Manacheri, author of Our Father in Heaven, Hallowed Be Your Name, a 2000 plus year old prayer to transform human consciousness. In this video, we are going to conduct the meta-analysis of themes in major world religions or cultures and the philosophies of life related to excellence that we have mapped in our work. Further, we extend the same to the major practices of silencing the mind across various world cultures. My daughter, a 12th standard student, Annie Maria Menacheri, is moderating this short video.
We live in a data, information, knowledge and wisdom hierarchical world, and we are going through the wisdom era. We live in an era of big data analytics and deep learning to understand the meta trends to generate algorithms. Wisdom is not a single-minded, narrow approach. On the contrary, the scientific approach towards wisdom is understanding the meta trends and perspectives so as to understand it as a whole. Let us now try to understand the meta perspectives and trends through various cultures and philosophies that have influenced this universe. Lord Buddha, who lived in the 4th century, taught very clearly that desire is the root cause of all sufferings. Again, the karma phala is the term that he used to relate and to mention about the past or about sin. Lao Tzu, the Chinese philosopher and mystic who lived in the 5th century before Christ, talked about Tao, which means the way without goals. He demonstrated great courage to tell people that there are no goals but only way. Let's hear too how our Captain Cool, the epitome of silence, an astute practitioner of the present moment, practiced the Tao principles in his life.
I'm Sumit. MS, where did you see yourself while you were retiring or while you were done playing cricket? Have you achieved what you wanted to achieve from cricket?
जब मैंने क्रिकेट खेलना स्टार्ट किया था तो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल मैंने कभी नहीं सोचा था मैं इंडिया के लिए खेलूंगा. आई थिंक इंडिया ए का जो मैं टूर मैंने कंप्लीट किया, मैंने परफॉर्म अच्छा किया था, उस समय मुझे पता चला कि मैं इंडिया के लिए अब खेलने वाला हूँ, चाहे आज खेलूँ, 6 महीने बाद खेलूँ या 3 महीने बाद खेलूँ. तो मैंने कभी ये सोच के नहीं किया खेला था कि मुझे ये अचीव करना है, ये मेरा पर्सनल माइलस्टोन होना चाहिए. स्कूल से ही जब हम क्रिकेट खेलते थे या जब हम पार्क में क्रिकेट खेलते थे, हमारा एक ही मोटिव होता था, हमें मैच जीतना है. जितने भी दूसरी अच्छी टीमें होती हैं उनके अगेंस्ट हमें मैच जीतना है. सो दैट इज द पर्पस. माइलस्टोन से अगर आप अपना फ्यूचर डिसाइड करें तो मुश्किल हो जाएगा. माइकल फेल्प्स के नाम बहुत सारे ओलंपिक गोल्ड है, वो तो फिर 5 के बाद ही उनको रिटायर हो जाना चाहिए था. So it's not about milestone. What it's about is how much you can contribute, how good you are, and then you take it forward.
Good evening, sir. My name is Arminda Kapoor, and you are a global icon. And what makes you move every day? What's your mantra of the day, which keeps you going, motivates you?
Well, I try to keep it very simple. I'm somebody who lives in the present, so I don't think too much about the past or the future, but I've kept saying I take learnings from the past. Of course, you need to have goals for the future, but I know the most important thing is the present.
He called his philosophy Tao, and Tao simply means the way. It was Lord Krishna who, around 33rd century before Christ, advised Arjuna.
कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन मा कर्मफल हेतुर्भूमा संगोत्सु कर्मणि.
It simply means perform the job to the fullest and do not worry about the results. Desire, objectives or results are the future to happen or to unfold reality. When one is anxious about the result or the objective, the attachment with the result or the objective may create tension, anxiousness, fear and stress, which might take away one's focus from the karma or action or in the here and now. Hence, to focus on one's action in the present is what Lord Krishna advocated Arjuna. He also used the term karmaphala in the Bhagavad Gita, the Sanjida, the Prarabdha and the Agami Karma to mention about the past. Let's observe how Dr. Giselle George, the author, interprets the prayer of Jesus Christ, our Father in heaven.
Hi, I'm Dr. Giselle George. The first 2 lines, the introductory part, commence with praising. It's like the church bells. When it rings, shift the believer's attention and awareness to the prayer. The second session set up the context to the prayer. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. The context here is about the will of Jesus Christ's Father, Abba. His will is to transform earth as it is in heaven. Forgive us our sins as we forgive those who sin against us. Represents the dimension of time that is the past. The word sin represents the past traumas, negative experiences, unethical past actions or bad karmas, and the inability to unlearn and relearn, and finally to forget and forgive the past negativity. Hence, we carry the painful experiences of the past and live in the present with pain, guilt, prejudice, and anxiety. Thus, our present life becomes suffering. Give us this day our daily bread represents the dimension of time, the present. As the present, the here and now is the only existential reality. Because our experience, our activity is connected only in the now. And lead us not into temptation represents the dimension of time, the future. As temptation is the future to occur or unveil in the time and space. Both past and future are not experiential realities, also not existential in nature. Future and past are the creation of human mind and emotion. The sad part is that our psychological reality has overpowered our own true existential reality, that is, our experience in the here and now.
Let's discuss about the process capability systems or the Six Sigma practiced by the industries to reduce error to 3.4 in a million opportunities. Excellence always deals with the here and now approach or the way. Let's discuss about the practices of excellence. Meta-analysis revealed that all masters or self-realized individuals or gods as per respective believers have similar calibrated perspectives about heaven and earth. That is, to be excited to do the action with full energy, enthusiasm and exuberance in the here and now. Let's conclude about the mindfulness practices in the scientific communities and cultures. The yogic system in the Hindu way of life in India. The Vipassana with Buddhist traditions in India and Japan. The Zen practices in India and Japan. The Sufi meditative practices in the Middle East. The Taoist meditative practices in China and others. The Kabbalah and Kavana practices in Jewish mysticism and mindfulness practices in psychiatric and psychological domains across the world. Let's now do.
Thank you, Sophia. Thank you, Parul, for giving us an opportunity to serve your learners. Now, let me clarify the basic concept of mindfulness. To be mindful means to be aware and to be conscious. The words awareness and consciousness are used interchangeably to explain about mindfulness. Mindfulness, which is happening at the psychological level, includes knowing one's own interest and the learner's likes towards what is being learned. Whether the learner love or like the subject. It's like how far I love and like the subject, and if I like or love, why do I like or love it, and so on. We will discuss in detail about this liking later. The second sub-theme is whether the learner has the aptitude and competence to learn the subject. It's like what's the center of the course, or what are the IQ requirements to learn the course? Does the learner have any basic background knowledge about the subjects and so on? It comes which program the learner wants to study and what are its opportunities, and whether the job the program offers after its completion has got any challenges, or is there any associated occupational health and safety hazards. By opportunities, we mean that whether the learning provides the learner with adequate job opportunities so that he can earn his livelihood. We will learn later in this program that the object of learning is appropriate functioning, as advocated by Dr. Alport, a famous American psychologist, that whether the learner can express oneself in a unique way to the fullest. Finally, whether the learner is aware one has to meet with any challenges while expressing oneself. In 1965, Benjamin Bloom, the great psychologist who brought the concept of Bloom's taxonomy, defined learning as acquiring new knowledge, skills, behaviors, values, preferences, understanding, and may involve synthesizing different types of information. Let me point out the domains of learning at cognitive level. Like, after a particular program is completed, one will be able to understand, comprehend, analyze, to solve a problem, or to create. That means learning has happened at the cognitive level. If someone learns a certain skill, like to dance, to swim, or to drive a motor vehicle, we say that the learning has happened at the psychomotor level. The next level, that is affective level, that is to like something or someone, or to love, appreciate, or to fear, hate, worship, etc. And these domains are not mutually exclusive. Let me explain this with an example. Suppose a learner is learning to play chess. The learner has to learn the rules of the game. So that is happening in the cognitive domain. But he also has to learn how to set up the chess pieces on the chessboard and also to properly hold and move a chess piece. So that is the psychomotor domain. Further, later in the game, the learner may even learn to love the game itself, values its application in life, and appreciates its history. So here the learning happens in the affective domain. Now let us try to get an insight about ourselves in choosing a program to learn. For this, the following questions will be helpful to you. Why am I interested to learn in this program? Is it because I love this particular program, or am I attracted by the numerous job opportunities the program would provide me in future? Or is it because my personality perfectly matches with the program? Or whether my parents had a wish for me to go for this program, or whether they compelled me to do so? Or is it because of the social acceptance that I may get if I undergo a particular program? Or because of the risk-free jobs offered by the program? So the answers to these questions will give you a feedback about why you prefer to learn a particular course or a program. Now let's look into the common objectives from the perspective of a student. According to a survey conducted, it has been revealed that the major objectives of learning are to get good marks in the exams at the end of the course of the program, or getting a certification or degree, to get a job so that he can earn a livelihood and support his family, reaching the expected level of performance at his workplace, and also to contribute to the nation building. So these are the tendency of satisfying the biological needs, which is known as the opportunistic functioning, as noted by the famous American psychologist Willard Alport. There is another objective for learning called the appropriate functioning, which means doing things in keeping with you what you really are. That is, the expression of one's authentic, unique self, where one's self is unfolding, growing, and on becoming, as mentioned by Carl Rogers. For example, whenever one says, "That's really me," he or she is expressing one's authenticity, which is an expression of unique self. Apart from the above two objects of learning, there is the Oriental Eastern perspective. According to this perspective, one performs an action or karma to unfold the spirit of oneself and for realizing higher states of consciousness. For one believes that the purpose of life is to unfold the Purnatva. Purnatva means fullness, and it represents the state of our spiritual being. Thus, Oriental Eastern perspective means believes that your learning should facilitate your purpose of life, that is, unfolding the spirit of oneself and for realizing higher states of consciousness. Now, let us look deep into ourselves by going deep within us. Let's take a look into the given inventory, Authenticity to Learn Self-Report Inventory, and try to answer the statements. Be true to yourself, and please remember that there is no right or wrong answers. Only your responses matters. So you can see there are 10 statements written over in this inventory. You have to mark or circle the appropriate score on this, starting from 0 to 4. If you completely disagree with this statement, if you completely disagree with the first statement, you need to circle the score 0. Your response represents score 0. Likewise, if you completely agree, or if you feel that the statement is completely true for you, you have to score you have to circle the score O. For the next statements, you have to mark in this way. So let's read the first statement. For this, let me explain why the purpose of this inventory. The following statements are designed to measure various behaviors, thought processes, and mental characteristics. So there are 5 possible responses that best reflects you, and you have to circle the corresponding number according to your response. So let me read the first statement. The program I study matches my personality style. So if you are a person having, or if you are a person who is an introvert or extrovert, so mark your response appropriately. So now the second statement. The program I study provides me great opportunity to work. The third statement is, I am in love and excited to learn the program that is chosen to study. Fourth one, I have chosen the program because my parents suggested to learn it. The program I study provides me great acceptance in the society. The program offers me a risk-free or occupational risk-free job after its completion. Although my parents suggested, I too love the program I have chosen to study. The program I study provides me a high-paying job on successful completion. I love to do the same program, and I love the risks and challenges at work. And finally, I have a high level of competence and grip of subjects that I have chosen to learn. Here, you have to notice one thing. The question numbers or the statement numbers 2, 4, 8, and 10 have to be scored in the reverse order. That means if you have circled the score 4, it means you have to take the score as 0. Likewise, question number 1 or the statement number 1, 3, 5, 6, 9 have to be scored in normal manner. So if you have circled the score as 4, it means 4. Then there is a relationship between question 4 and 7. If you notice, you can see that. So for question number 7, if your answer is 4, then your relative answer for question number 4 need to be considered to be normal or positive. That is 4 itself. And for the same question statement number 7, if your answer is 0, then your relative answer for question number 4 need to be considered in the reverse order. That is, even if you have put the score as 4, it is to be taken as 0. We also measure life skill in this question also. Thank you.
Well, hope everyone can hear me. Am I audible? Yes, thank you. Okay, now Dr. Giselle, she has given you a skill building session on how to know thyself, about your own interest, opportunity to learn, perhaps at the transactional level. Well, this inventory do have 10 questions. The maximum score of one question is 4 and the minimum is 0. It means if you have 10 questions, you add it together, and if you get 40 marks, considering the whole reverse scoring as well as normal scoring, if you get 40 means your authenticity to learn is very high, and if you are towards 0, your authenticity to learn is very low. It means you are externally oriented, you're taking a decision to learn a course or a program is based on somebody else's opinion, society's opinion, parents' opinion, etc., etc. Well, it's okay, maybe till when you get a job, then you marry a girl or a boy, then you get social acceptance, that's all okay, fine. But what happens after 40 or 45 years? We need to realize the fact that maybe we have to spend more than 1/3 of our time of the whole life at our workplace. So we should learn something that we do like. So please keep that in mind. And I thank Dr. Ajay Trivedi, who is my friend as well as colleague, that we did together a program at IIM Ahmedabad around 9 years back. So I thank you. I thank him for giving an opportunity to serve all of you, and I thank Parul University also for giving an opportunity to serve. Well, let's discuss about transactional levels of learning. What is transaction? See, let's think we are going to a retail outlet where you are getting, or they provide you a product or service in exchange for money. So this is a primary level of transaction. Similar to that, take the emotional level. You give love to your wife or your husband or your parent or your girlfriend, and she is also giving it back. So it's an exchange of give and take, whether love or acceptance or respect. Let's take acceptance, whether you include people and accept them or exclude people and reject them. So it's all transactional. Okay. So at the transactional level, everyone prefer to win or gain. In education also, for the money one provide, especially when the self-financing colleges and universities came in, for the money one provide, a student want to gain something, perhaps a good grade, certification, a job, salary, and livelihood, and so on. Right? Am I right? Yeah. That's all perfectly okay. That all are common, that happens in the day-to-day life. Well, but what happens to that? At the transaction level, we may say, I want to gain, or I want more, or I want to win. But coming to higher education, the challenge here is, well, when I get more, I am more happy. Higher the gain, higher the happiness. Higher the loss, higher the grief. So for this, society has conditioned a learner to gain more, to compete, to be number one in the class or school or state or in the country. Well, you need to compete and you need to be topper in the class. Well, the first C. The second C is comparison. Your teacher or your parent unconsciously perhaps compare yourself with the other person, but you are a unique individual. So the comparison comes next. Then what will happen? Normally, the reciprocity is that you complain about the teacher, the students, your colleagues, or whoever, your peers, whoever learns with you, You again, complain the syllabus, again complain the teacher about the way of teaching, the methodology, the pedagogy, the evaluation schemes, everything you complain. The moment comparison comes, and you criticize other students' syllabus and teacher also. So, and you contend with others. So these are the 5 C's of scarcity mentality. Mind you, these 5 C's are being instilled right within you, right from the LKG or the first class you learn, and that is being happening at the unconscious level. So, who conditions you to compete? Okay, well, at the transactional level, learning is to gain a degree, a job, salary, and acceptance in the society. These are purely material. Here, for the fees I pay, I need a job and money. I want to be number 1 to get the best job. This mentality creates a craving in human mind for more and more and more right from childhood. So let's think about few possibilities. I want to be the number 1. I am better than others. My ideas are superior. Narcissism slowly develops, right? So others' ideas are not good. I am supreme. My race is... So, what happens? Only one person in a class or 1 percentile among 2 lakhs, say 2000 or 1500 students, where 2000 students are writing CAT exam and only 1500 students are getting into IIM Ahmedabad. So, the top 1 percentile or the topper of the class are happy. But what about the other 98 percentile or 95 percentile or 99 percentile of the students? This creates tension, anxiety and stress among others. That means the majority. The question is whether for learning competition is necessary. Hence, postmodern societies are abandoning competition in learning. So, the system of competition is slowly getting unlearned from evolved countries. Well, about that, we will deal it tomorrow or the next class in detail. So, the conclusion is transactional levels of learning is more material in nature. It's give and take that are not absolute levels, or absoluteness is more into the existential levels of learning. Whenever there is transactional element, then we get into the judgment part of it, good or bad, right or wrong. Okay? So the judgment comes, and that judgment creates inner tension and inner turbulence within us, and majority of the learners are into anxiety, tension, stress, and it goes through 2 stages: obsession in thoughts and compulsion in action. So obsession in thoughts are okay. We can understand that because a thought is coming to you continuously, but what about compulsion in action? People go out and perhaps may commit suicide. That is action. Let's learn something about the absolute levels of learning or existential levels of learning. So I'm going to transfer a skill to you. My submission to all of you is to be aware in the now. We are going to learn what is existential levels through an experience. Okay. Now it's asking questions one by one where we will realize what is existence first. Fine. First question is, do you exist? Yes, I do. Now I live. I exist. How do I exist? Hey, come on. I exist now. I know that. I'm living. I'm chatting to you, or I'm talking to you and you're listening to me. Now means I live in the now, just now. Will you exist next year or tomorrow? I don't know. Did you exist yesterday? Yes. But can you act in the last moment or yesterday now? Now, I mean now. No, I cannot. Now, you do exist in the now, but you can learn from yesterday for a better tomorrow. You can only learn, you can only act in the now, but you can learn from yesterday, but you can only act in the now. Now, right now, it means I live in the now, just now. Well, can you act tomorrow? No. Again, well, can you act yesterday? No. I can only act in the now. So, my experience, my action is in the now. My karma is in the now. Where through this karma, through this action, I am rooted and connected with experience and existence. Because the next moment or tomorrow is my psychological reality. It comes from imagination. My past is, yesterday what has happened again is my memory. That are not existential realities, that are only psychological realities. But I exist in the now. Well, but you can do something for what has happened for yesterday, mind you. You may ask for forgiveness or forget and forgive and take correction and corrective action in the now. It means you can learn from yesterday and take correction and corrective action, right? You do agree with me. Fine. But you can only do that in the now, in this second. So experience can only happen in the now, neither yesterday, last moment, or tomorrow, or next moment. Hence, whenever you learn through experience connected in the now, you are going through existential learning that is absolute in nature. Because, please understand, see, take a coin, keep it in front of the table. Now it has heads and tails. You cannot cut the coin into two, heads and tails. Please, heads doesn't have existence without tails. So similarly, please understand, any experience you cannot cut into two. It is whole and unique.
Hence, whenever you learn through an experience connected in the now, you are going through existential learning. Now, skill building. Can you learn a concept or a theory by using experience? Yes. Psychologist has derived a method to learn. This is skill building session 4. 8th standard to a master level students, where during the exams they may ask you, majority of the domains they will check for your recall, comprehension and understanding, right? They will check whether you remember whatever you learned. So short-term and long-term memory, comprehension and understanding, concept formation also they will check. And after that, they will check whether you can synthesize data, analyze data, then whether you can critically think, creatively think, divergently think, arrive at a conclusion, solve a problem, and finally whether you can create something from your learning process, right? So, but your learning is almost 50 to 60 or 70 parties. Well, conceptual learning. How you can learn a concept by using activities. This is skill building session. And famous psychologist has derived a method for that. It's called as SQ3R. SQ3R method. It means survey, question, read, recite, and review. So, if you use this SQ3R method, you cut short your cognitive learning into 5 stages or 5 steps. First, you will open a paragraph, you survey it. You will identify the major, sub-themes. Then you will ask questions for yourself. Then you will go through, you will read it. Then again you recite it and you will review it. Search about it and try to implement it today. This is an exercise that I'm giving you, because our training don't focus on just learning something constantly. Wow. We prefer to learn some skills within you, so that the learning outcome is, okay, I attended this webinar. Fine. I spent 1 hour for that. I had an experiential learning. There is a change. A change has happened within me before and after learning. Wow, that is something great. And this is the experience. This is the aha learning. So we will discuss it tomorrow. So every day, this training program has been designed for 45 minutes, and 15 minutes we will interact with the participants. So I request Parul University authorities to connect us to the Facebook Live, where we will answer the questions to them. And today we will conclude about it. And tomorrow we will speak about, recap. We will speak about this. We will recap. Then we will speak about SQR3. We will speak about existential learning, that will be continued. And we will speak about unlearning and relearning. Then we'll speak about experiential learning and behavioral learning, and insight and techniques for unlearning, and path towards excellence. That is what we are going to deal with tomorrow during the second session. So today we'll conclude. I request Parul University authorities to guide me, take me towards the question and answer session, Q&A session. So I am stopping the presentation now. Can you connect me to the question and answer session, or what we can do?
Sir, I have received your questions from the students.
Yeah.
One student is asking me that you are talking about mindful learning. So as you said that, we are always asked to race since the beginning, since the childhood, that you have to compete, you have to be the best. What do you think? Is there any fault in the education system, or how can we change it in a better way? Because it is the way the system is designed. We always applaud the students who score the very good marks, and we always applaud those students who are always in the limelight, teachers' favorites. But how it should be actually? Like, what is the role that teachers should play, and what is the mindset that students should have while they are studying?
Well, so his question is very interesting, but it's very much thought-provoking, and I'm also thinking about it, and for a long time as a social psychologist. Well, there are certain societies who has already understood it. Well, we call them as postmodern societies, or countries like Finland. Though those countries, they are in the some parts of Europe, they're already rich. They're very much on the advanced evolution of civilization. Where those countries, they have already taken initiative to stop competition in learning. Up to 7th standard or 8th standard, they do not have a ranking system. Please understand. And now Europe, recently they have started implementing it. Now it's a slow process where, please understand, I don't have the basic requirements such as food, shelter, I don't have enough money. Then our first prime importance is to earn for a living. That is quite natural. That's quite natural. We have to understand that. So all those third world countries or developing countries are in that particular stage. So we are almost, even in India, we are almost, majority of us are down to the poverty line. So if we tell them that, okay, the competition is not required, so our government may not accept it. Our social psychologists or social system may not accept that. These are all the realities that we have to understand. So the evolution happens, the relearning happens at that level is a slow process. We have to give time for society to evolve. So I do imagine a scenario where maybe after 25 to 30 years, at least in education system, there will not be comparison. The 5 C's that I have already mentioned, our education system will slowly change. A fast change may not happen, slowly change, and it will evolve to what postmodern societies have started implementing at this point of time. And second question, whatever you asked, well, what teachers can do? See, to be aware and conscious about it. Students, okay, they can be aware and conscious about it. When the awareness and consciousness comes within us, it creates a change at the quantum level. We are not aware of it. Quantum level is very important. So at that quantum level, at the level of knowledge, when some information gets in our mind, it creates a new neuro association, and slowly that knowledge changes us. Cognition, truth will set us free. Cognition changes the thought process. Thought process changes our behavior. Maybe it's a slow process. But let's take responsibility for that. Okay, I did my best. What did Dhoni say? Oh, क्या होगा? धोनी का पिता क्या बताया था उससे? ओके, अब तक आप पढ़ा नहीं है ना, सो आज पढ़ने से क्या होगा? कुछ भी नहीं होगा. अब तक आप पढ़ा होता तो आज नहीं पढ़ने से कोई फर्क नहीं होगा. So enjoy the now, try our best. Okay, living the now, take care of your daily lessons, and focus on the now. Learn your lessons on the same day. Apply SQR3 method and apply major activities for learning. Learn everything through activities, that is through experiences, so that after reading something for 15 minutes, you will not get bored. Your attention span, majority of the individual's attention span is limited to 21 minutes only. But do it as an activity. Learn as an activity. Use your all three senses, including or even five senses: auditory sense, visual sense, and kinesthetic sense. Use it together and follow the SQR3 method. Today you do it. Take one paragraph. Google how to implement SQR3. Learn a particular paragraph using SQR3. You will forget time in doing that learning process because you're doing learning through an activity. I'm talking about to a target group of 8th standard and maybe even up to the level of masters, because our system requires more cognitive levels of learning, and they are testing your memory, recall, comprehension, understanding, and awareness, not the creation side of it. Not see that is being tested less than 20 or 30%. So I hope I have answered your question. Any other questions, ma'am?
Yes, yes, you have answered that. Thank you so much, sir. And I have another question. Now, as you have interacted with many students and you basically interact with students of all the age groups, I want to ask you that when we were in school, we had a lot of other activities which were compulsory for us to attend, like there were extracurricular activities, there were some physical activities. And when a student reaches the age when he has to attend the college, the activities are not that compulsory. So basically, the student is just learning, like the classroom activities. And of course, if the college or department or the university arranges for extracurricular, then of course that student might participate, but that just might participate. What do you think other areas or other subjects that we could introduce at college level so that we can ensure an overall development of a child wherein he participates? Of course, it is to some level compulsory. And what do you think about it?
Okay. See, Jesus Christ in the Bible, he told about love your enemy and resist no evil. So whenever we are only focusing on one particular area, you go and become a specialist in that area where your scope is very much limited. And if there is any, please understand, if there is any disruption in that particular area, you lost your whole skill. Now, in order to develop you on an all-round or a holistic or a gestalt level, you need to be an expert or you need to be a deep generalist, at least in 2 or 3 or 4 areas, where students may be not interested in one particular area and they consider that is evil or that is, I don't like it and I don't love it, but we have to resist it. No evil. You have to start learning that you don't like. So that is to make you a all-round individual and versatile individual, and even X is not there. Why I have an opportunity? Why? So that is why deep generalists are performing more than niche specialists. Please understand. So see, one thing that we need to inculcate in our curriculum could be, we need to teach them how to face failures and overcome failures, because whenever we face failures, we lost that is the end. And my wife, Dr. Giselle, is working on a new book, The 7 Spiritual Laws to Face Failures, because we have not trained our students to face failures, because we all consider that failure and success are two. That is only at the transactional level. At the absolute level, failure and success both are one, because observe a child, okay, how he learned to walk. He fall down many times, then get up, then finally on a moment he start walking. So failure and success is not one. How a amateur chess player becomes a grandmaster. He fails at many levels, at the international level, at an ELO rating of 1,200, towards 1,800, towards 2,200, and towards 2,500. He needs to get an ELO rating, and then only he becomes a grandmaster, and super grandmaster is about 2,700. So he has to go through different levels in order to achieve the excellence. So he or she has to go through pain and suffering. That we have to rephrase the word pain and suffering as opportunity to grow. So this we need to train our students, rather than telling a student that you are a lousy guy if you fail. Hey, come on, there is no difference between failure and success. Try again, get up, go ahead. So there is no end towards success, excellence, and also failure. In fact, both are one. Not two. So in our Indian principle, we call it as Advaita. There is something called as Dvaida. We consider failure as Dvaida. I failed it, and success is I have gained. He's a nice guy, and he's a wonderful guy. I failed. Okay, I'm a lousy guy. So this is a self-image a student is gaining whenever he fails. No, please, my dear child, my dear learner, please understand. There is nothing called as success and failure. In fact, both are two sides of the coin. See, you keep a coin like this. There is tails on the one side and heads on the other side. Without tail, there is no existence for head. You cannot cut it into an experience into two. Please understand. It's a same side. It's the two sides of the same coin, success and failure, and it is unique and one. It is non-dual. It is gestalt. If this awareness come to us, and our parents will open up, our teachers will open up. Where again, Jesus Christ has told, okay, if a sheep is going out of the herd, okay, they will go back, take it forward and put it inside. They will take necessary correction and corrective action so that the failed learner will come back and join the winners group. And I'm sure we should teach them students to fail and come out and reach excellence towards the end of our life. And there is no end to it. That is why Dr. Carl Rogers told on becoming a person. So it is becoming, it's an unfolding process. So please understand, this is something that we need to add in our syllabus, how to face failures, how to overcome failures, and how to grow beyond limits. So this is the answer to your question. I think I have answered your questions on 2 dimensions. And if you need any more clarifications, you may.
Yeah, thank you, sir. You have wonderfully answered the question. And we have many questions, but I think we can take them up later. And it was indeed an insightful session, sir. On behalf of Faculty of Commerce, Parul University, I extend my heartfelt gratitude for this wonderful session.